Demai Perikei Mishnah Aleph. Okay, you go to the bakery and you buy food. Normally it has a hechsher on it and it says, Hufreshu Trumotu Masot, like everybody take off Trumotu Masot. That's in Israel. In America, you go, you have the hechsher on the side, you have the sign and everything is okay. It wasn't always like that. Even in Israel, it wasn't always like that. Most people took off Trumotu Masot on their own. We only live now in a time where people don't want to do it, so they do it for us. The same is true, so back in the times of Chazal, you went to the baker, and the baker didn't take off Trumotu Masot. And we're going to talk about a little bit at the end why he didn't. Usually we assume that he did. Sometimes we assume he didn't. Okay? So you go to the baker, and you buy bread from him, and now you have to take off the appropriate Trumotu Masot. So the Mishnah says, Halokeach mina nachtom. If I buy bread from the nachtom, from the baker, keitadu ma'aser. How much do I have to take off? Now, just as a very brief review, remember that from Demai, if I'm worried about the issue of Demai, because he bought produce, so I'm concerned that there is Demai here. So therefore, I don't have to worry about Truma Gedolah because Amaretz weren't concerned with Truma Gedolah. They were not concerned. They took off Truma Gedolah. They didn't take off Maaser because of the Levi, and because of that, they didn't take off Terumat Ma'aser. How much is that? As we learn, so Maaser is 10%, and of that Terumat Ma'aser is 1/10 of that. Oops, how did that happen? Hold on a second. There we go. So Ma'aser would be 10%, and of that Terumat Ma'aser would be 1/10 of that. Let's go back to our blank slate because we'll see what the Mishnah says you have to do. Okay. So in this case, notel kidei Terumat Ma'aser v'challah. How much is that? Let's go back to our chart. Terumat Ma'aser we said is 1%, i.e. 1/10 of Ma'aser. And challah, when you buy it, the nachtom, the baker had to take off 1/48. 1/48 is approximately a little bit more than 2%. So the Kahati says that we're talking about a total of, you can do the math, 300s plus 1/1000th. Okay, so you'll figure it out. Let's assume about 3%. And you do the following. You say, Echad mime'ah mima sheyesh kan, harei b'tzad ze ma'aser. Ush'ar ma'aser samuch lo. Okay, echad mima me'ah shema sheyesh kan. 1/100th of what I took here. Harei b'tzad ze ma'aser. Okay, so let's remember, you took 3/100ths, 3%. You took Kedei Terumat Ma'aser and Challah. You said 1/100th of here, b'tzad ze ma'aser. So 1/100th here, I'm going to turn it into Ma'aser. Okay, that's my color for Ma'aser. And then let's go back to our Mishnah. Ushar Ma'aser Samuchlo. And then the rest of the Ma'aser is Samuchlo. The rest of Ma'aser, let's go. There we go. All this 10% is Ma'aser. Remember, I'm not going to give the Ma'aser to the Amharetz, to the Levi, because of the rule of Hamotzi Michaverah Alav Haraya. But first, in order to take Terumat Ma'aser here, I have to designate it as Ma'aser. Let's go back to our Mishnah. Zeh she'asiti Ma'aser, asui Terumat Ma'aser Alav. That which I made into Ma'aser now is going to be Terumat Ma'aser Alav. So this one that I made Ma'aser, I'm going to make it now Terumat Ma'aser. So therefore, I took 3/100ths. I said 1/100th of that is Ma'aser plus another 9/10, plus another 9/100ths. Not 9/10, 9/100ths. The one that I started off as Ma'aser, I make Terumat Ma'aser. V'hashar Challah. And then the rest of this is going to be Challah. What color do I have for Challah? The rest is going to be, is that it? No, wrong color, but you get the point. Okay, we'll make that Challah. V'hashar Challah. And the rest of it is going to be Challah, or whatever. Okay, the rest of it is going to be Challah. What color is that? So the Ashar Challah. Did it work? Yeah, there we go. So therefore, there's my 3%. I have this 9/10 I keep, because I'm Mosi Mechabara Alavaraya. This Challah goes to the Kohen. This Terumat Ma'aser also goes to the Kohen. Uma'aser Sheni Bitzvono Ubidromo. And I have to take another 10 Ma'aser Sheni, another 10th Ma'aser Sheni. Let's say 10 over here. It's going to be Tzafon or Darom, wherever you say it's going to be. I'm going to make that Ma'aser Sheni here. But then, Mechulal al Hama'ot. Immediately, I'm going to do Chilul. I'm going to designate and transfer the Kedusha onto money. So therefore, I designate it, and then almost as quickly I say I'm going to designate it, I remove the Kedusha. It's Mechulal on money. Let's give me some money. Here we go. I find you some money. So what happened was, so then I took my Ma'aser Sheni, okay? I designated the Ma'aser Sheni, and then I immediately transferred the kedusha. I immediately took that kedusha and transferred it onto my money, and that's how. And therefore, this is maaser sheni, and then I can eat the rest of my bread. I hope you get my whole my crude drawing. Okay, so let's read it again. Notel kidei Terumat Ma'aser and Challah. He takes kidei maaser Terumat Ma'aser and Challah 3%. And he says, Echad mimea memash yesh kan harei b'tzad ze maaser. 1/100th that's here b'tzad ze on this side is maaser. So 1/100th of this bread. Remember, we're talking about this bread is maaser. Okay, ushar maaser samuchlo, and then the rest of the maaser, the other 9%, samuchlo is adjacent to it. Zeh she'asiti maaser asui Terumat Ma'aser alav. This 1/100th that I made originally maaser is now Terumat Ma'aser. Okay, uvashar challah, and then the other 2/100ths that I designated originally out of the 3% is challah. Umaaser sheri b'tzvono o b'dromo u'mechulal ala ma'od. Okay, there's a lot of differentiation. If you look in the, you notice that it's very strange. Echad mimea mimash yesh kan harei b'tzad ze maaser. It's very strange language. In the Mishnah Eretz Yisrael, he has original girsaot. If you look at it, he quotes the girsaot in the Ktav Yad. It's called Ktav Yad Kaufman, and they have a different girsa, which makes things a lot more sensible. There's also a long explanation in the Kahati about apparently there's contradictions especially between this Mishnah and an earlier Mishnah, Parak Bet Mishnah Dalid, which says the following. The Mishnah says, here we are, Parak Bet Mishnah Dalid. Hanachtomim lo chivu otam chachamim lafrish ela kedei Terumat Ma'aser v'Challah. So the Mishnah clearly implies that the bakers were obligated to take off Terumat Ma'aser and Challah. And here we see, if you buy from the Nachtom, how are we supposed to take off Ma'aserot? So that's a question that the Yerushalmi brings up, and there are different explanations, different suggestions in order to try to solve the apparent contradiction between the two Mishnayot. Just briefly, I'll quote you the Bartanura. He says, "V'haditnan le'el perik bet shenachtomim chayavim lahafrish kidei shiur Terumat Ma'aser v'Challah." Why does it here say that the person, you buy it at the store, you have to take off Terumat Ma'aser, and in perik bet it says that the baker himself did? So he quotes one of the answers in the Yerushalmi. Hata mari b'murkav b'midah daka b'mocher. The spacing here is terrible. B'mocher b'midah daka. Okay, there he's selling small amounts. When the baker sells smaller amounts, he makes a better profit. He has to take off ma'asrot. As opposed to here, it's talking about a baker that's selling in larger quantities that they didn't require him. Inami, another explanation, okay, if he's selling smaller amounts, it's not just the chachamim were afraid that he made too much of a profit, but if you're a small baker, then the children were borrowing from you, and the children would eat right away. So therefore, if it's a small baker, he would be required to take off Trumot and Ma'asot. As opposed to here, I guess you're buying it from an industrial baker, the Gemara in Yerushalmi says, one opinion in Yerushalmi says, and therefore, the purchaser has to take off Trumot and Ma'asot. Okay, so I hope this illustration was as clear as it possibly can be. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to contact me at rspolter@gmail.com. And as always, I want to dedicate the learning to the memory of my father, Harav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman.